All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Again, this is Michael Gummel from Paradigm Technology Consulting with our monthly PTC ISV Spotlight. Today, we are going to be taking a look at PowerGP Online from Njevity. There's been a lot of FUD out in the marketplace lately about Great Plains or Dynamics GP not being cloud ready or not being a solution for the future. So we have our friends from Njevity here to dispute that fact, or that, not that fact, but to dispute that point of contention today. So with that, I do have everyone on mute. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to use the chat area, and we will take some time to go ahead and take a look at the questions as we move through. So, excuse me again, Michael Gummel, product engineer with Paradigm Technology Consulting, and I will go ahead and now turn it over to Mike from the Njevity team. So Mike, go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you, Michael. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
All right, fantastic. Well, just want to thank you for inviting us in to talk to some of your customers and help, like you said, debunk some of the messaging that's out in the market right now about GP not being cloud ready. My name is Mike McPhillamy. I'm the director of sales here at Njevity, and then I'm also joined by Pam Mishalik, who is our director of cloud applications. You may, if you've been in the GP community for a while, you may know or have heard Pam's name. She was up until March with Microsoft as the GP product manager, so really knowledgeable on GP and the direction that GP is going. Back in March, decided to join Njevity and help us launch our GP cloud solution. So we're excited to have Pam on the team. For the most part, I'm going to be taking you through a deck about, is cloud GP ready, and then Pam will be taking over and jumping in with some cool demo content. So really through the presentation, we just want to kind of talk through and answer questions like, is GP a cloud solution? When should you consider moving to the cloud? Is the cloud right for you? There's a lot of messaging out there that everybody needs to be in the cloud, which we agree. The cloud is a great option for many businesses, and we've got solutions that meet the needs, but it might not be for everybody. So we'll talk through all of those. But first, before we get going, I just want to give a little more background about Njevity and who we are and what we're all about. Njevity was founded in 2001 by our president, Chris Dobkins. He, before starting Njevity, he had a GP practice in Nashville, Tennessee. I believe he's been working with GP since 1994, which speaks to a lot of our team members. All of our team members are very experienced and knowledgeable in the Dynamics GP application, which is why we are dedicated to delivering an exceptional cloud experience for Dynamics GP. And through that, we integrate with things like Dynamics CRM, Microsoft Power BI, Office 365, really that Microsoft stack that enhances the user experience. We're closing in on 3,000 users who use and connect to our cloud solutions every single day. Customers range from one GP user all the way up to, you can see that down there towards the bottom, we've got 400 GP deployment on Azure, and then a 600 user GP deployment in our private cloud. So through all of that, we've learned a lot of things. We've learned what works well for Dynamics GP as a cloud application, and have used that knowledge to really streamline what we're doing with cloud. We are a Tier 1 Microsoft cloud service provider and are really focused in the small to mid-sized market with gold and silver companies in cloud and ERP. And Pam, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on this because I don't know the exact user count now, but Microsoft has these people that are designated as Microsoft Business Solutions MVPs. These are people that are very active within the community, very active within the GPO community, have Microsoft's ear on a lot of things, and Microsoft takes the direction and the requests of these MVPs very seriously. I believe, and this is where I'll need help, Pam, but I believe that there are only 14 worldwide. The number kind of hovers between 13 and 15, but we have 2 MVPs on our team, Belinda Allen and John Lowther. So just going back to the experience of Njevity. Sorry, I got a little mouse happy there. So the bottom line here is that we are passionate about helping GP customers and partners develop and implement their cloud strategy. And really that passion is, here we go. That passion is backed by our mission, which is to improve the life and success of our partners and customers by providing exceptional business application experiences that simplify, inform, and delight. What this means is every decision that we make as an organization is bounced off this mission. Is it something that's going to simplify, a user's experience? Is it something that's going to delight them? That's going to, excuse me, something that it's just going to enhance that user experience. So a lot of times, the biggest questions as a cloud company that we get are, why consider moving GP to the cloud now? I mean, the cloud has been around for a while, but why should I consider it now? We find a lot of times IT is just tired of managing GP and the application servers that it runs on. A good example, we have a customer that we spoke with about 3 years ago that was adamant. The director of IT was adamant about having GP on premise. He wanted it. It was his baby. Last week they reached out, and his exact words were, "I don't want to hassle with it anymore. I want to add value to my business, and I don't want to manage and babysit these application servers that GP is running on." So the mindset of IT has shifted. But the biggest reason that we find that customers are moving to the cloud is this guy right here. Internally, we call him the scary guy, but the scary guy represents all the threats to your business, whether it's malware, viruses, phishing. Is your organization set up to recover from a hardware failure that causes extensive downtime? Do you know your backups are being backed up? Have you done a test restore? What happens if you lose your data? These are things that can be very detrimental to a business. So second question we get is, why choose Njevity or a cloud solution from Njevity over something, or over going to Rackspace or moving to Azure? And to that we say we are more than just a hosting company. I already talked to our expertise, but we really are the Dynamics GP experts. We've got the team. Our team of IT is dedicated and knows the nuances of hosting Dynamics GP, and have created our environment really for that exceptional experience. We are fully SSAE 18 and SOX audited and SOX compliant. We've gone through penetration testing, which basically means we have hired a company, which is basically a group of hackers whose sole job it was to breach our environment. We've also, like a Rackspace or an Azure, we've got the 24/7, 365 service monitoring, firewalls, disaster recovery. But because we know GP, we also understand the nuances of GP and accounting, and that we understand why you'd want to retain backups for 7 years for auditing purposes. So, just a lot of things that will allow you to focus on your business, and then you can send your worries to us. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff anymore.
And to add on to that, I think a trend that we're seeing is a lot of IT companies or IT professionals, they really want to be in a more strategic environment where they're helping to drive the business forward, and they're helping to do different things in the business to make it grow, and rather than just having to babysit servers and do backups and things like that. So we can take all of those hassles away and let you really be able to focus on your business and taking the business to the next level. So let's move on, Mike. Let's talk about the benefits of the cloud.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Pam. Yeah, and so as Pam said, we'll talk about the benefits. And in Njevity, we really identified four key benefits. We call them the four pillars. The first, and we've already touched on this, is compliance. Is your data safe? Obviously, with Njevity, we've built our environments out so that you are sure that it is. The second is, does it add productivity? So things like an integration with Office 365, being able to simply do that, or as Pam mentioned, having IT have the ability to be more engaged in the direction of the business as opposed to just babysitting the application servers. One of the biggest factors is reporting and analytics. Cloud applications should be able to provide this data at your fingertips, whether it's through dashboards or reporting in Excel, or even through mobile. Is it something that you can use anywhere, anytime, on any device? Are there mobile apps, for example, an iPad app that you can use? These are all things that modern businesses expect from their accounting software, and GP really does have all of these. We mentioned that we've really got a solution for every customer. We've got two powerful cloud experiences. The first we'll touch base on is Njevity Go. And Njevity Go is really just Dynamics GP hosted in the cloud. We've got options for subscription, or if you're an existing customer that owns your licenses, we have a bring your own license model as well. In Njevity Go, we support all the ISVs that are out there. You have the option to connect through a remote desktop or web clients, so kind of leverage that web client experience that we can just easily light up with Njevity Go. It's very simple to migrate, and then your upgrades are still going to be performed by your partner. We'll spend the rest of the time talking about PowerGP Online, which is our newest product offering. And we like to say that Dynamics GP is reinvented, or PowerGP Online is Dynamics GP reinvented for the cloud, because it truly is. It's 100% browser-based. You can use any web browser, and it's deployed on Microsoft Azure. It's a full SaaS solution, so subscription only. We have support for bundled ISVs. As I mentioned, since it's fully SaaS, you're only going to be able to log in through web client, but as we get into the next piece of the presentation, Pam will show you some of the cool things that you can do with web clients. We've built a tool called PowerGP Migrate, so you can migrate all of your data, your existing GP data in without losing any fidelity. And perhaps some of the coolest things that we offer are, one, upgrades are included, and then we built a Power Suite for things that don't natively work well in the GP web client experience, and we'll show you those there towards the end. We also got bundled in an integration with Power BI and Office 365. So with that.
And to add a few points into some of this, to give some of our people in the audience some context around the way they should be thinking about cloud. So if you want to take your exact deployment you currently have that you have at your site, and you just want to move it to a server, we can do that for you. And that was where you would go to the private cloud and you can have it exactly the way you want. But I would encourage you, or a professional tip would be, don't do that. What you really want to do is look at, are there ISVs you can take away? Is there an easier way you can run your system? Is there a way that you can do business a little bit differently? So you can move it into the private cloud as is, and then you could take a really good look at it and talk to your partner with Paradigm and see how you can work smarter, faster, and different. And that's where you can move from the private cloud and potentially into the public cloud to get all that value of being able to work in an easier environment. So I'm going to take over and I'm going to share my screen. So we're going to show you GP today. This is probably the reinvented new GP that might look a little bit different to you. So this is GP Web Client. All GP customers have access to Web Client. There's many reasons why you'd want to use the GP Web Client. A lot of it is IT related, so if you want to reduce the amount of hardware you have, like if you're using Citrix or terminal services, Web Client does that for you. It makes it a lot easier to upgrade. It makes it a lot easier to do service packs. So your IT team, if they understand Web Client, they're definitely going to want to go to it. From an accounting perspective, it works a little bit different. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why it's different, but once you get used to it, you'll love Web Client just like everyone else will. So in here, what you'll see is it looks similar to GP. It's Web Client, but we also have the ability to control your space that you use. So I could make it like this, where you'll notice then I have 2 columns since I'm not on a big monitor today, or I can expand it out to here. Instead of that Dynamics GP button that you would normally have at the top, you'll see that that's gone. So that's usually the biggest point, because a lot of you learned how to use GP by navigating everything from there. Well, really there's a better way to navigate where it's going to really reduce the number of steps it takes for you to do your daily work. And that's why we created these area pages here, like we have home, financial, sales, and so forth. So in here, what it will do is when you click on purchasing, for example, every single window that you have access to will show up here. So you no longer have to do that old archaic tree-like format. And if you're like me and your mouse is a little bit shaky and then you have to start over at the top again, it just will really reduce the amount of time it takes for you to navigate the product. If you also have new people, they don't have to learn the old navigation. This will make a much more sense to them because it's based on how people actually run their day-to-day work. So you'll notice in here, I also have my area pages on the left-hand side. I can navigate through here and just go back. What I can also do is do a search. And this is my favorite feature in Web Client. I would actually, we run Web Client at Njevity, so I do my expense reports on Web Client and other things like that, like for my daily work. And I like this window just because sometimes if you need to get to a window and you don't necessarily remember how to get to it, you can just do a search and it'll list like here's all the windows that have customer in them. This would include windows that are bought from your third-party products or any customizations that you've created that are inside of GP as well. So it includes everything. So you notice here I opened up the customer inquiry window, pretty simple window to see. If I wanted to, let's say I needed to open up another window, because I work not only in with customers, I also, let's say, enter transactions or I create reports. So what I would want to do is, let's say I want to enter a transaction and I want to go to, let's say, bank transaction tree. And then now you'll see that window opens up. So the biggest difference you'll see with Web Client that'll take you a little bit is you'll notice I can't click on the window behind there. It only has a single window display because you can run it on any browser. Like you see, I'm running GP on Chrome today. I could run it on Firefox. I could run it on an iPad. And a lot of those different platforms don't have that concept. So we have to work around it. What's nice about that is you can still have your windows open. You would just go back to the search window to toggle between them. So it'll list any window that you have open, and then you can search for more windows as well. So it's just a slightly different way. But once you get used to this, it really doesn't get in the way of your day-to-day job. My pro tip around this, it takes a week or two of just getting used to it. But once you do, I guarantee you'll never want to go back. You'll be like, don't take my Web Client away. But you do have to kind of really understand this a little bit different way of using the product. But once you get the search and you realize like it's year-end close and you have to do year-end, and you're like, how do I get to that window again? I don't remember what are my steps for closing my inventory or doing payroll or my tax year-end. You can just put in year and it'll automatically show these things that were kind of hard to find before because you don't use them that often. So it's something that this alone is going to like save your day all day long. But then you also have the same power of Dynamics GP as well. So this was just a small tour of the homepage, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to Mike, and we're going to talk more about some of the things that we've added into PowerGP Online. Getting back to that, we are GP experts, so we know all of the little things that are kind of quirky about GP, and we're on a path to make those easier and improve those and make your life just a lot easier running in the cloud, but then also just running your day-to-day business. So, Mike, I give you the floor.
All right. Thanks, Pam. Make sure I share my right screen again.
Yep,
All right,
and I
yeah,
can see the demo slide, so we're
perfect. Good deal. Well, yeah, thanks, Pam. And like Pam said, it really is that modern experience that that users kind of expect from their applications. So hopefully you saw that. But what I'd like to do now is just talk about a lot of some of the cool things that we've added to PowerGP Online. I mentioned the Power Suite, and I mentioned that there are some things that just don't really work well natively with GP through the web client. But we can talk through some of the things that we added and why. The first is a mobile app. We've created actually an iPad app that is really great for especially executives, maybe salespeople out on the road, that leverages the technology of the iPad, but it also has some great some KPIs and dashboarding. You can also log in and resend an invoice right from the iPad, or use the map and directions functionality. Hopefully Pam is able to show this to you. I'm not sure if we've got that set up, but we do have an iPad app. We have created a RESTful API, which is going to allow you to connect with really any other application that's out there, whether it's cloud-based, whether it's an on-premise application. This is something that we developed. It's what's running PowerGP Mobile. It runs our integration with Power BI. So we've got a very powerful API that, like I say, you can create integrations with really any other application that's out there.
And with the PowerGP Connect, just to interrupt you a little bit, Mike, what I love about the concept of this is when you think about all the apps that are out in the world today, 10 years ago, basically you looked at GP and you looked at ISVs that worked inside of GP, and that was really the choices that you had in solutions. And now today with PowerGP Connect, you can kind of connect to virtually anything. So let's say Expensify or Bill.com or some app you find in the cloud that does a certain function. You'd be able to take that and you'd be able to integrate that into GP in the way that you would want using PowerGP Connect. So it really can open your eyes into thinking about not only just moving to our cloud and renting rack space or renting servers, it's really about how do I redefine how I do business, how do I take advantage of some of these new things that are out there that weren't available probably when you implemented GP. An example of that, I was working with a customer that they were growing and they just needed a way to track what their people were doing. And so they got this app. It was $1 per month, like ridiculously cheap, but it did very, very narrow of a thing. All it did is say, here's the different projects, and I spent 8 hours doing this today. And then they were looking at, well, could I take that and could I add a billing component to it where I spent 8 hours doing X, but that was billable work. I'm like, totally, you could do that. And you can use PowerGP Connect to integrate that in. So it gives you that ability to talk from different apps and still be in the cloud without having to think about complex integrations, complex development efforts, and all that thing where before you probably would have had to say no because it would have just been too risky and too complex or too expensive, where we built like the mobile app and PowerGP Connect to give you the ability to say yes. So I'm really excited about it because I think it'll be something that a lot of people on the call today can take a look at and can take advantage of. Okay, so exactly. Mike, let's move on.
Cool. All right, yeah, so we've built an import tool. So I mentioned that there are things that don't work well natively in the web client, in GP web client. Integration Manager is one of them. So we created an import tool called PowerGP Import, which Pam will show you, but it's going to allow you to import Excel journals. And we've got, Pam, how many screens do we have the ability to use PowerGP Import right now? Do you know the number off the top of your head?
You put me on the spot there, and I don't know. But Chris, you chimed in. How many was it?
I think it's about 20 right now.
Good, that's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to be way off. So yeah, we've got the ability to import within 20 screens within GP. Pam will show that to you. That's a very cool tool that we're very excited about. For existing customers who are on premise and maybe are looking at changing their business processes to move into PowerGP Online, we built a tool called PowerGP Migrate, which is going to allow you, and this is free, you can use this tool to bring in your existing GP deployment. You're not going to lose any of your historical data. Everything is going to come over. This is what we'll use this tool for. We've got an integration with Office 365 for single sign-on, so really, adding that productivity and that simplified user experience for your users. And then again, and it needs to be repeated, we offer free upgrades when you're a PowerGP Online customer. So once you're in PowerGP Online, you never have to worry about another GP upgrade again. And I want to point out, this isn't something where, because most everybody on this call is going to be an accounting user. You don't want to show up one day and just see that your accounting software has been upgraded. This is something that you're still going to coordinate and plan through your partner, through the Paradigm team. But there's going to be no cost. We'll just get you upgraded to the current version of GP. We've got an integration with Power BI, and we've developed 6 content packs. I'll just quickly scroll through these, but these are going to give your executives or your team the ability to quickly get a snapshot of exactly what's going on within the organization on a real-time basis. So we've got content packs for financials, inventory and purchasing. We've got sales. Executives love this accelerated business insights content pack, and then we recently added a content pack for payroll. And that answers the question, does PowerGP Online have payroll? And the answer is yes. Whoa. Computer's going to freak out there. We've developed a very powerful HR payroll suite with PowerGP Online. We know a lot of the modules and third parties that customers like to use with payroll, and customers, we find this becoming more of a trend with customers that years ago everybody was outsourcing HR payroll, but as people outsourced, the service levels of these companies started declining. So more and more we're finding people, they want to bring payroll back in-house just so that they can have control over it, but they still like the idea of outsourcing that compliance. So that's really what our HR payroll suite is designed to do. It's got the Dynamics GP HR payroll suite, but then we've added on and partnered with Integrity Data, and we've got 8 of their HR payroll modules included. We've also partnered with Green Shades, and Green Shades is one of the most well-known companies in the GP space for payroll, but we've added their tax compliance as well as their employee self-service. So we've got in the HR payroll suite is it's per employee per month. We've got a special promotion going on right now for our HR payroll suite for any customers who would like to move before the end of June. We've got promotional price going on that, but you can see a lot of value, and it's really what customers want out of their HR payroll.
Yep, and to add on to that, we've seen a trend where I would agree, like years ago, everyone was outsourcing their payroll. I mean, it was kind of the thing to do. And the assumption that was made is that it was going to be easier, it was going to be less time on the organization, less risk. And what now with some of these tools that are out there with, being able to file and, like with Green Shades and the pay service and being able to get your W-2s online and all of those pieces, people are looking at it saying, well, really, it's not less work to outsource my payroll because I still have to do a lot of tasks around it. So insourcing the payroll, but then outsourcing like the ACA and compliance stuff makes a lot of sense. So it's another thing when you're thinking about whether you move to the cloud or not, it could be something where with these tools combined, it might be just a really good idea in your business. So you want to talk to Paradigm about it if you outsource your payroll to see if it might actually save you some time and a lot of money by bringing it back in.
Exactly. All right, so last slide before I turn it back over to Pam to show you all this cool stuff. We've got two different editions for PowerGP Online. The first is really designed for customers who are starting up, or maybe moving from QuickBooks, or customers who don't have a lot of complexity within their organization, and they're just running basic financials, maybe distribution. It's the Essentials edition is perfect for them. You can kind of see what it includes, but I will point out that we do include a GPUG membership for every power user. We bundled in ISVs that we know GP customers just love. I wouldn't go as far as saying 99% of them, but a lot of them use tools like Rockton SmartFill. We've got credit cards from Notice coming in soon. We use Jet Reports for reporting, and then you get all those integrations with Power BI, and then the Jet content packs, which we've got over 200 pre-built reports that you just get for free that you can start using right out of the box or tweak to meet your needs. So got a lot of things bundled into the Essentials edition right out of the gate. But if you need something more, we also have a Professional edition, which includes all of these Essentials functionality. We upgrade you to Jet Professional if you need advanced reporting, but you can also do things like extend. Well, we've bundled any one extender so you can extend the fields within GP. We've got PowerGP Smart List that we've developed, but we've also, in the Professional edition, included Smart List Builder, so you can create your own smart lists. We're going to be releasing PowerGP MDA budgets here shortly, so we've got a budgeting tool right within the Professional edition, and then you can again extend and unsupported ISVs and customizations as you need. So again, as you're looking at PowerGP Online, the way you're using the system now, maybe you're not the best fit for PowerGP Online, but there's a lot of things that you can start evaluating and streamlining and looking at your processes to see, because maybe you're a customer that's been using GP for a long time, over 10 years, and your business has changed, your needs have changed. The Paradigm team can work with you to you look at your system, look at your processes, maybe look at maybe there's different ways of doing it, or better ways of doing things, to where maybe you would actually be a great fit for PowerGP Online. And really gain and benefit from that modern user experience. Pam, do you have anything to add before I hand it over to you?
No, I think it is best to show you. So we'll just show you more about it rather than talking about it. Okay, so we're back into GP. So there's a few things we're going to show you. I'm not going to show you the mobile app today, but the mobile app really is designed for, like Mike said, owners, executives, people who are not inside of GP every single day, but they need to get information out of it. So it's something that you'll want to look at, like if you're a power user and you're the gatekeeper of all the data, the mobile app really will help you, so you don't spend time answering questions for other people rather than actually getting your day-to-day work done. So that was what the mobile app was designed for. We also have the Power BI reports and the Jet reports, which can also be accessed outside of GP as well, and I'll show those in a little bit. But first I want to show you kind of the import capabilities, because it's something that I think is really fun and just really, really interesting. So we're going to start with something super, super simple. It's something people do all the time, is journal entries. A lot of companies like to do journal entries in Excel and import them in. Some of you might be doing that like with Integration Manager or Smart Connect already. And a lot of people want to do that just because they feel like it's faster to do it that way rather than doing a window like this. So what we've done is we've added this import button at the top of the screen. So you'll see here's the import journal entries. I already have a file, so I'm just going to pick my journal entry file. And so what you'll see is here's all the journal entries I put into the Excel file. We have up here at this top, I have templates. So we have templates for all of the journal entry, or all of the imports we have templates for. So when Mike asked how many, I'm like, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of them because I've looked at all the all the different templates out there, and I get lost because it's so much powerful. But in here, we'll give you a sample, and we'll give you a template to use, and then we also have a user guide. So for each one of these, we give you that ability to do it yourself, so it's not really that hard. But in here, this will list my journal entries. I can change stuff from here. So if I wanted to put, Mike's payroll, I can change that and it'll automatically look at it. I could also go in here and I could change, let's say, an account number. So we're going to do that and change that in here. So then when I revalidate it, it's an import that's smart. So it's going to look at this and say, oh, wait a minute, that account number is not correct. So it will not let you import in things that don't make sense or that are not valid entries. So we're going to go, of course, change this in because we want to import it in our batch. But when I do that, then it'll say, okay, you're good to go, and you'll have all these green check boxes. And then I'll import. So it's as simple as that. So then when the import's complete, it'll tell us, oh, I imported my 2 journal entries successfully. So then now when I go back out here and I look, I can pull one up and you'll see how it says, Mike's payroll. So it imported it all in just like that, which is pretty cool. The other thing I like about this is we're going to move and we're going to talk about customers for a little bit. So in here, I created a navigation list. Navigation list is in the desktop client as well as in the web client. It's been around for a really long time. This is one of my favorite features of all time. And like in this case, here I have a customer list. Or has the customer name, the ID, but it also has like the current balance and the salesperson. So this just gives you that value of being able to do things right from here that I've always been a fan of. We've added import into this area as well, so you could import from where you normally work. And you should be working from these windows instead. So since it's one of my favorite features, I always just have to talk about it. So in this case, we're going to import a list of customers. So here I have 4 customers I'm going to add. I could change it again. I could change the address ID. I could change the contact name. So if I wanted to, I could put Mike in here as well, and then I can import these in. So then now, you'll notice if I refresh my list, I put AAA in front of them so they all show up at the top. This is how easy it is just to add a customer. But what's really cool about this is I can also edit this. And so I can update information. So it's not just to import. I can import it once and then I can re-update it, which gives, in my opinion, much more value. And it just reduces the time it takes to do your day-to-day job. So in this case, let's say I don't want Chris Dobkins to be the salesperson. I want to maybe change that. I could easily take that and change it the way I would want to. So one of the things I want to show you as well just is being able to apply filters. So in this case, you could apply a filter. And it's not showing my filter. Anyway, we'll move on, but normally there's some filters that you can put in here. So what you could do is you could filter by the salesperson. What you could also do is filter by, let's say, any customer that has a balance that's really high. And you could actually do reports. You could send emails. You could put customers on hold and do it all from this window. But if I wanted to import in, then what I could do is I'm going to go to a smart list. So smart list, everybody's favorite thing in the GP world is smart lists. So in this case, I have a smart list. I'm going to do a search, and I'm going to search because let's say I want to change Chris and I want to put me as a salesperson, or Mike. I could change it to whoever I want. So in here, I'm going to restrict this, and I'm going to say only if it's Chris. And so you'll notice my smart list will change, and I'll only change to that 4 that I just imported in. And then I'm going to export this to Excel. Okay, so since I'm running in Chrome, it'll be on the bottom there. And so here's my smart list. I'll enable editing this, and then I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to change this. So I'm going to take it from Chris, and I'm going to put it's Pam. And then we'll save all of those. So now I want to update this, so now I'm in Excel, but I really want to update this inside of GP. And so I'm going to save this, and we're just going to save it as a new file. Pam, the new salesperson, and we're going to save it as a CSV file. Okay, so now I have that going, and then now in here, I'm going to go and I'm going to do another import. I'm going to import customers. And then I'm going to pick that new file that we just created from the smart list. And then you'll notice here, it gives me this red X. So it's saying that these customers already exist. Are you sure you want to do this right? So it tries to be smart to allow for user errors. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, yes, we do want to update them. And then it'll update. We could make changes in here as well on the fly. So you can make any changes you would want in here. But we're just going to import these customers since we had the new salesperson. So then now if I went back into my list and I refresh, it's going to show the new salesperson in there. So that's just some of the things that you can do in the import. And so we put them on kind of the master records and transaction records as well. So you can just do it to save time just inside of Dynamics GP. Okay, so next, let's move on. As you probably can tell, I could talk about GP all day long, but I know that there's probably some questions in the audience, and we want to respect the time that you've spent with us today. So I want to talk about Power BI next before we conclude the webcast. So Power BI is probably the coolest thing I've seen in a really, really long time. And this is the tool that you want to look into for the future of reporting. So we're investing into it. We're making it super easy for you. So what I have here is I already loaded one of the apps. We're going to load another one that Mike showed in that slide earlier. So we have 6 different Power BI content packs that give you these dashboards. And then you can take these and then you can edit them and you can make them your own. Because like Mike said before, we're GPS experts. So we completely understand that we can create a dashboard that's beautiful and pretty like this. And we know that you're all going to want something slightly a little bit different. So we give you that base, and then we can give you the tools to bring it from there. You can talk to your partner. They can help you modify and edit these. We also have services on our side through your partner to help you get to exactly what you want to get. Power BI can be accessed from outside of GP. So you'll notice up here, I'm out on powerbi.com. So you don't have to be a GP user to be able to access these. So in here, you can see I have different reports and different dashboards that I can view. So if I move, I can have like an inventory insights report where I can mark different classes or different sources. I can look at the purchase items as well, and then you'll be able to sort by buyers and certain things like that. So we've created these different tabs that gives you just that base that you look for. And this one is just our generic one that kind of gives you the accelerating your business insight, which is my favorite. Let me show you how easy it is to get these. So we're going to click on this Get Data. It's a service that you're going to get because we created them all out there for you. And then if you go out here and you type in Power, here's going to show the 6 of them that we've created. The new one is Payroll, but you could download any of these. You can download all of them. So they're all available to you for no additional charge. So we are going to go into the inventory one. And so I'm going to say Get Now. And then it needs my company ID because it needs to know where my data is at. Oops. Okay, let's type that in again. Okay, so it's that easy to actually download those dashboards. And so right now it's installing the app, and once it's installed, all I have to do is click on it, and then now I have the inventory dashboard straight away. These dashboards have reports and dashboards where you can view related. So if I wanted to look at a report, I can move it to the report and look at it in this way, where then I have my different tabs, kind of like Excel would be, or I can have it in a dashboard form. So depending on the role that the person is, some like looking at the charts and graphs, and others want to get into more of the details. And then this pulls GP data as well. So that's how easy it is to get the report. So back to, we want to give you the ability to get insights into your data, because one of the main reasons why people buy GP, or one of the main things that people are asking for, like the number one thing they would want out of their solution is better reporting. So most typical GP customers are like, if I could have anything in the world, I would want just better reporting because I have this years of valuable, knowledgeable data, and I can't use that to help run my business. And what we've done is giving you the ability to just start here, and then you could take it and actually get that better reporting in a much easier way with the advantage of Power BI. We also have content packs for Jet reports as well, which are Excel reports. So it is something where if you're looking at upgrading or you're looking at making some changes in your organization, this would be a place I would start, definitely looking into. And this could be another topic where we could do an entire hour webcast just on how to even get data out of your existing on-premise deployment, or how to get some of this stuff that we've included in PowerGP Online. So it is something that's just really interesting and fun. So with that, I believe there's probably some questions in the question manager, or Mike, if you wanted to look through any of those. But now would be the time. If you did have any questions about what we talked about today, feel free to put them in the question, and we will verbally talk about any of them that come up. But I will turn the floor back over to Mike, and we can go through any questions, and then Michael will kind of close our session out with, if you want more information about where to go next or how to get more, Michael will be your person that will talk us through that at the end.
All right, so a couple questions came in here that I see here. So, and I think I could probably answer most of these, but I'll leave it over to the experts here. So first one here, what does SaaS mean?
What does SaaS mean? That is a great question. So I know Microsoft in the industry tends to have acronyms for everything. So there's SaaS and there's PaaS and there's all these different acronyms. But from a customer perspective, really SaaS is like a public cloud offering. So it's software as a service. And so really what that means is like what you saw with GP today, you launched it with a browser. You didn't have to like RDP in, you didn't have to remote desktop, you didn't have to log into like a Citrix. All you had to do is just go to a browser and it was an HTTPS, so it's secure. And so that's what it means. It's truly public. So what's great about that is you're sharing resources with other companies. So then the cost of the hardware and cost of the service is actually much lower because you get to share it. So your price point is actually cheaper because of that. The constraint with a SaaS offering is you don't get like direct database access because you're sharing with others. Just like you wouldn't want other companies to access your SQL database, you won't access theirs. And so we protect that where you're not able to get it because it's a true software as a service. So you're just using the service. The private cloud would be where you do get backend access and you would be able to get direct access to your SQL server, but then you're not sharing, so then the price point can be much more expensive depending on your deployment. So that's, and one customer I was presenting to them and they were sitting in the second row and she's like, so that's just a fancy word that Microsoft made up. And I'm like, well, I don't think Microsoft made it up, but it's an industry term, but it is something that a lot of people talk about. Do you have anything to add, Michael, on that one, or?
Just the only other thing is typically with a SaaS model, it's a monthly subscription type or an annual subscription type model. It's not a buy at one time and pay for updates, because within the SaaS model, the updates for the hardware, as well as the software are all going to be included in that monthly fee or annual fee that you're paying there.
Right, totally. So I'm glad you brought it up. So to add on to that, so with the PowerGP Online, like when you saw the essentials and those, I mean, that is a SaaS solution. It's subscription only. You pay per month. It includes your upgrades. So really low buy-in, and it does that. We also have the option for the people in the audience. Let's say you're current on maintenance. You have your yearly maintenance that you pay to Paradigm. You could take that and just bring your own license and put it into our cloud, which would be kind of like what we talked about with the private cloud, where you could just have exactly what you have and you could just move it over. And then all you would have to pay us is for like your hardware fees. And that could be as little as $134 per user per month. So it could be super, super cheap for you just to replace that hardware. And then you would stay with Paradigm doing your upgrades, doing your maintenance the same way that you've always done it. If you're currently not on a maintenance plan, maybe you've lapsed. Or maybe you have a lot of modules that you just don't use anymore and your yearly maintenance is rather high. You could talk to your partner about it, because you could stop that and then just renew with a subscription where you're just going to pay per user per month and move into that model. It's not for everybody, so that's why we give you that power to choose. So you can choose just to stay the way it is and just bring your own licenses, or you could choose to move to something else if it makes sense for you. And that's where I think we have a really strong value, because we're not like some of the other vendors out there where you have to work the way that they want you to work. We give you that power to be able to be cloud in any way that you would want to be. So we have a lot of people doing it in much, much different ways, just because that's what's the best thing for the organization.
All right, very good. Couple more questions here. One is, I didn't see manufacturing listed on the GP, the PowerGP. Is there a solution if we use GP manufacturing?
Okay, that's a great question as well. So you're correct that manufacturing is not included in PowerGP Online. You could use PowerGP Connect to connect to any other manufacturing suite. Let's say if they're using a non-GP manufacturing. The other option would be is they can use manufacturing in our private cloud. So they could do it there. We're on a journey with PowerGP Online. So right now we're trying to keep it super simple, easy to get up and running. And manufacturing isn't simple and it isn't easy. So we chose not to put it there just because of that, thinking kind of the target market that would want that super simple sign-on isn't usually a manufacturing company, because you also typically have other ISVs and other customizations you'd want. Your manufacturing companies are a much more robust type organization, where chances are they're going to want some unique customizations, where the private cloud usually is the best place for them and the right place for them to be, because it just gives them a lot more. So that's why we chose to do that.
Right. So basically, if they're using the GP manufacturing, PowerGP wouldn't be necessarily the solution, but we could still take them to the cloud under the hosted solution, either a private or public solution that way. Right,
exactly. And that's what we would do is find out all the different modules that they have, the different ISVs, their requirements, and the hardware requirements that they would have around it, and we would build them like a custom cloud infrastructure for them that would fit and perform at the level that they would need to perform. Especially like manufacturing, if they're open 24/7, 365, they have no downtime. I mean, there's some different things that we would want to do or enable for them that would be a little bit different. So yeah, so they could have a unique solution for them in our private cloud.
Okay, great. And I think you kind of touched upon this one in that last answer there, but question came in, are you looking at adding other ISV solutions to the PowerGP?
Yes, we are. So PowerGP Online is, I would consider it, we're on a journey, and our journey is to really reinvent how people use software and how companies run their business in the cloud, with GP as that foundation. So we've added the most common ISVs like Rockton, SmartBill, and E1, which are really, really common. So we're looking at and talking to other ones like McCorma is another one that we're in talks with as well. So we are on a journey to add more into it. But the goal would be is when we add those into it that it's not a separate deployment. It would just be part of the cost for PowerGP Online. So again, back to it'll be super simple for the user, and they wouldn't have to do a complicated implementation of any of these new products that we bring into our public cloud. But yes, we are on a journey with a lot of those. So things will be changing in the future. And anyone who gets into our cloud now will have that opportunity as well. So it's not like they won't get the new stuff we put in if they move today.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I would add one more thing to that too, and to note that with PowerGP Connect, we really open up a whole new ecosystem of ISVs. So products that are out in the marketplace like Expensify and Bill.com, all of a sudden, you have the ability to really easily integrate those with PowerGP Online through PowerGP Connect. So we have all of the great, ISVs within the GP ecosystem, but now we have this whole new, broader world that's open to our PowerGP Online customers, which is really exciting.
Yeah, great point there. And the other thing I would point out too is that we're seeing this journey already. The first iteration of the product did not have any payroll, and now we have not only the standard GP payroll, but we've also got a full suite of payroll products around that. So, I think there's a lot of bang for the buck for it within that payroll suite, and I would think that the folks from Njevity would be adding much more as we move along, stuff that makes sense for the greater community.
Right.
I don't see them ever getting into doing the one-offs and the small type things, but the larger ones that are used across the scope. I think those are the types of things that we could see coming in eventually.
Right, and yeah, you're right, and that's part of our greater vision around this is to provide not just a specific ISV solution, but to really think about how does that ISV play into an end-to-end solution for the whole customer. So rather than thinking of it as one specific feature someone wants, it's like what is someone in that industry would want end-to-end as a complete solution, and we want to provide that entire complete solution, which would relate to what Chris said, which is a great point of, is that solution, does that include, let's say, PayPal or something like that? Does it include other things than what they were originally thinking about? And that's part of our vision, is to figure all those complex things out and then provide something that's really simple that the customer can just consume, where we take the hard things and the scary stuff, like all those phishing emails that you get, like click here, and you're like, no, don't click there. And we take care of that, but then we also are going to be able to take care of the solution, where they can actually just run the solution rather than having to try to figure out what are all the things out there that they could take advantage of, because we'll hook that up for them. So we're on there right now. Is the start with PowerGP Online, and I think we have a lot more that's left to go in the future. So it's kind of a really exciting time in our world and in our community.
Yeah, that's great. And I think we're pushing up right against the hour here, so I think we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up. So Pam, any last second stuff here before I go ahead and wrap it up?
I think we've talked about everything we need to talk about today. So I think we can wrap it up about, if someone's interested in finding out more, they go to sales at or should they go to you directly, Michael, or what do you think?
Yeah,
what would
way.
you recommend their best next step? Either way?
Either way. Just contact us, contact PTC either at sales@ptcllc.com, or you can contact me direct at mgummel@ptcllc.com. But I did want to send out a big thank you to Mike and Pam for their time this afternoon. As you can see, there are multiple solutions available to move GP to the cloud. Our friends in Njevity have some great solution that takes GP to the next level and keeps it relevant. So if you're an existing GP customer or looking to make the move, let us show you how we can do that for you. If you do have any questions, again, please feel free to contact us at sales@ptcllc.com or mgummel@ptcllc.com. And again, I thank you all for your time today and look forward to speaking with you down the road. Great. Thank you.